Hi, today we are going to discuss about SQL parameter class. This class is derived from system.data.sql client. This is to used to transport the parameters to our command. Transport to a command. So generally, like how previously we implemented a programs where in command we are directly passing controls information like text box 1, text box 2, like that we have text name, text qualification, something. So instead of that we can make use of a variable declaration. That variable declaration is nothing but our SQL parameter class, so that we can pass that variable when and where it is required. So no need to pass direct control in our inline statement. Instead of that we can make use of this SQL parameter. The basic syntax for creating an SQL parameter object is SQL parameter. So obj param equal to new, means obj param is nothing but your object. What you want to give the name of object, you can give your desired name. SQL parameter. Here you can pass values for this object dot param dot name. You can give any name for your parameter. Suppose I want to give at the rate a, and obj param dot value equal to, so we have a value, so generally I'm going to get this value from txt name, text box name. So like that you can give, and obj, so you can provide a type, and as well as you can provide a parameter direction. Okay, this is the syntax how typically we are going to use a SQL parameter class. Okay, let me show an example, like how we can use SQL parameter. Meanwhile, I would like to open SQL Server also. So, okay, this is the data which is available in our table. Just I don't want all this. Okay. Now, this is my form, right? I would like to give an example for the parameter. So for this, just I want to take a new form. Param INSEX. Here I want to take insertion operations. So just from here I just copy paste from our previous class. Okay. So now when I click on submit button, so common things are common, like we can make use of namespace and all this, these are common. Next, establishing of command and here, and then we can pass this declaration. Okay, here instead of this we can pass that variables. Okay, so I will show you. So here what you have to do is, how many parameters that we need to pass? 1 2 3 4. So you can take SQL parameter, okay, param1. Likewise you can take, or you can take it like this, name param equal to new SQL parameter. For this, name param dot parameter name. My parameter name is, say for example, I want to take it as a name. Next, name param dot db type. Okay, means database type. So this database type is belongs to nvarchar. So like, see, whatever the data, whatever the database, so that we are using for the database, we have some, go to the structure of this table information, alt F1. So these are the columns, right? Alt F1 means you will get the table definition. Okay, this s name belongs to which data type? nvarchar. That is the reason where we use it nvarchar here. Okay, so likewise we can declare, what are the data types that we have, and what are the parameters that we have, that we can provide here directly by using this parameter. Okay. What it is giving? This is where, okay, you can use like SQL DB type. SQL DB type, like we can use. Okay, so now name parameter dot value equal to, this value is coming from this txt name dot text, right? We can use txt name dot text and name param dot direction. So parameter direction dot input. Direction means whether this is an input parameter or output parameter, or it may be input output parameter. Means input parameter means we have to pass a value to that parameter, so that that parameter will be utilized in the statement or inline statement. Means if output parameter means, if you pass no need to pass that parameter value, you just give the default value for that, so that automatically it will provide an output for us at the end of execution of particular program. That is called output parameter. So anyway, our next topic is, you know stored procedures, in which we can make use of input and output parameters. There we will get to have a clear idea on it.
Okay.
So now, so this is about our first parameter. Similarly, so this is one value. So next this is quali parameter. What you have to do is here you can change this name quali. Okay, so here you can check the data type. This is also nvarchar, right? So you can change this to nvarchar. So for this txt call, we have to read the data from the txt call dot text. Next percentage per param txt param. So but txt pair. So you can make it as a per. You can go and check the database type db type, that is integer. So instead of nvarchar you can make use dot int. Okay. So and the last one is date of join. dog param, this dog, and the data type is datetime. Okay. So here the value for this dog parameter is txt dog dot text. So now what we have to do is, instead of passing these values, we can pass instead of passing this, we can pass directly this variable names here itself. Okay. So the names itself, it's which is indicate that this is a parameter which is belongs to name param. This is a parameter which is belongs to this value parameter. So like param value parameter. Likewise, you can get and okay. Now cmd dot parameters dot add. We have to add the parameter to this. Okay. So name param. Likewise, once you're done with the query, just you can add all these parameters to this command. Query parameter, percentage parameter, dog parameter. Okay. So likewise, this is the same execute non-query and data insert successfully, data not inserted. If it is not inserting means same clear button we can place, like clear functionality. If you click on this clear, we can call that clear button. So here I'm going to pass some data. Demo qualification percentage 85. So data who joined 0106 2017, and I click on submit. Okay, so here this is a DOG. DOG parameter is date time. So it is telling like converting date time. So it is failed to convert to date time. So you can use convert dot to date time. So demo qualification percentage 85 DOG 0106. Click on submit. So you can check that data is inserted successfully. Just you can demo qualification 85 something. So likewise, by using parameters, we can save our data. So far, any doubts?
No.
Okay. Rekha, what about you?
No, everything is okay.
Okay. This is the way how we are going to work with the parameters. Now let us go to the stored procedures. Okay. So the basic advantages with this is means SQL parameters is SQL parameter takes parameter value instead of directly passing with a control to our command. That is the basic advantages with SQL parameter. So next is stored procedures. Means stored procedures are pre-compiled and pre-optimized queries. See, what it is means. Stored procedures are pre-compiled and pre-optimized queries, which means which means it will be already compiled. It only does execution, so that performance of an application will be increased. Okay. See, generally we write a query here, like insert into something. Okay. See, if you write anything normal scenario, current scenario, if we write a query, it goes into two-step process. That is, see, when you write a code or anything, we have two steps. One is a compilation of a query, and another is execution of a query. Compilation of a query and other is an execution of a query. Means, see, when you write a code, you have first it will be compiled and then it will be executed. Why compilation process? Means compilation process, this process makes sure that there is no compile time errors. In this, if there is any compile time errors, that will be raised by our processor. Processor in the sense, if it is in C sharp or CLR will be taken care. If it is a SQL server debugging engine will identify that error and it returns to us, so that it won't goes for further execution. So execution means it provides an final outcome. So whatever the output that it is intended, that will be provided finally with the help of execution of a query. Okay. So if it is a normal query, these two steps are taking place every time compilation and every time execution. Even though, see, I keep on executing this page itself. Even though first time the page will be compiled, next time also it will be compiled. Means next time also this query will be compiled. Next time also this query will be compiled and executed. Compiled and executed. Means so this compilation is unnecessarily taken place for each and every time, because if one time we succeeded, no need to take a compilation for next time. So if it is taking a compilation process, automatically some amount of time will be consumed for compilation process, and then some amount of time will be consumed for the execution process. Unnecessarily time wasted will be done and performance will be degraded. This will be overcome with the help of our stored procedures. So stored in the case of stored procedures, it's been pre-compiled. So it won't goes to the pre-compiled process. Instead of it directly goes to the execution process. That is the reason where stored procedures are generally people says that stored procedures improves the performance of an application. Why? Because it won't undergoes to the compilation process. It directly hit to the execution process. Okay. So that's the reason it's a pre-compiled and a pre-optimized query. Okay. So stored procedure won't return a values, rather than it an action performs an action, that is, either it will operate operate insertion or deletion or updation or select operations will be taking place, will be taken care. Okay. So by using stored procedure, we can perform some operations, actions. That is, either it will operate insertion or deletion or updation or select operations will be taken care with the help of our stored procedure. Okay. So syntax for creating a stored procedure: create procedure. Procedure means procedure keyword, procedure name, and you can pass parameters. How many parameters you can pass? As, and the next is begin. You can write the statements, how many statements that you want, and finally you can click, that is end. This is the syntax for stored procedure. Syntax for execution of a stored procedure. That is exec means execute procedure name. We can give the parameters. How many parameters we have that we can give so that it will be executed. So for any doubts related to stored procedures?
No.
Okay. So now I want to show how we are going to use the stored procedures. I want to insert a data to my table. I want to insert a data to my table. For this, I want to write a stored procedure. Okay. So you can write create procedure. Procedure is a keyword. You can understand that if any word is highlighted with a blue color, then you can understand that that is a keyword or reserved word for that compiler. Okay. So procedure name. So generally it is the best technique to use USP. USP means user defined stored procedure underscore. If you are in real time systems, if you are dealing with any of the module, so you can give that module name underscore. You can provide the information related to that. So here devo underscore. I want to give insert student data. So likewise I will give this name so that it is easily understandable by the end users in a meaningful format as begin. Okay. So here I want to insert the data, right? So what I need to insert? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 values I need to insert. Name, qualification, percentage, diverging. So you can declare whatever you want to insert. So name. So name is nvarchar of 100. You can declare like this. You can use at the rate in order to declare a variable. Okay, means parameter. This is the thumb rule for SQL Server. So name and other is qualification and other is percentage and other is DOJ. DOJ, that is datetime. See, if by default if you are not specifying type of this parameter, all these parameters are belongs to input parameters. We'll call this as an input parameter, which means that we are passing input as a name, so that name will be processed in our stored procedure. So all these are input parameters. Suppose if I use, say for example, if I use out or output, anything is okay. So which means that this is an output parameter. So first of all, don't confuse with input and output. In first example, we will deal with only input parameters. Okay, if you are not specifying means by default that is an input parameter. So now you can use insert into tbl student. Okay, so here we have that insert query. I think just you can copy paste that insert query. So here instead of this you can make use of name and other qualification, percentage, and okay. So this is the way how we are going to implement a stored procedures. And one of the best practice is set no count on. Okay, which I will explain you what is this. See, once after this procedure execution, it will gives how many rows affected for this query with this stored procedure. So generally one row affected, two rows affected, which is not at all required for us, because suppose if you are inserting 1 lakhs of data, once after the insertion, again procedure takes some time to get the count of results of each and every record information. Means one row affected, like this you it get to printed up to 1 lakh 10. Unnecessarily some performance degradation will be there, so that we don't want a count, because we are not at all using that count anyway. We know what was the count which is handled by our cmd.execute non-query. Then there is no use, there is no point of getting all this information. So that's the reason I don't want count, so that I make set no count on, means I don't want count, like that I'm telling. This is one of the performance optimizing technique with the help of a stored procedure. So generally this is an interview question. How to improve the stored procedure performance? So first point is set no count on. Okay, this is the first point that you have to tell. So now I executed my stored procedure is executed. Suppose if I click again F5, means it gives an error, which is that there is an already object name usp underscore adv underscore insert student data, right? INS student data in the database. Means whenever we try to execute, means again it is trying to create your stored procedure, so that if you want to make any changes, instead of create, first time only you can use create, next time you can use alter. So now you can execute how many times you want, you can execute. Means alter means you are going to do some changes and you can again execute that. That will be altered, means that will be changed. So now I want to execute this stored procedure. Okay, first I want to execute without set no count on. Okay, I'm executing. So name, suppose I want to give a name. Okay, suppose here I want to give Sai qualification MSc and percentage. Okay, 95, date of join. Okay, 05 05 2017. Consider this the date of join of that. When I execute this one, check error converting. Okay, converted to data. Datetime format is like this, no? So that is the reason where it is con F5. You are getting one row affected, right? So now you can check whether the row is inserted or not. Okay, it is inserted. So now what I'm going to do is, again I'm going to click on alter. Means now set no count is added. So now I want to pass something some values to this. Okay. So there, mtech, so 99 0905 something. If I execute this one, you won't get one row affected here, because I made set no count on. In this way we are going to implement a stored procedures. Any doubts so far?
No.
Rekha?
No, it's okay.
Okay. So now we can check how we are going to use these stored procedures in our front-end applications. I want to create a new web form. First we insert vx. So here I want to get this design. So same story, like first namespace importing is common, and initialization of this thing is also common, and this part we have a slight modifications are required for this, and clear button. Okay, let's come to this part. Okay, so for this what we have to do, this is not at all required. So first we can establish a connection that is common. Next, instead of passing a query to this, we can pass stored procedure name here. What is our stored procedure name? This one. Just copy it and paste that stored procedure name here itself. Okay. So we already told, if it is inline query, we can make use of stored procedure. Sorry, text. If it is a stored procedure, we can make use of stored procedure here. Okay. So this is the next step that we want to take in care. So and then next step is, so cmd dot add parameters dot add with value. So you can take this one. Okay, so here you can pass whatever the value that you want. See, for this stored procedure we have to pass some input values, right? All this input. So just copy each and input value information here at the rate name. Okay, similarly for this, where we are going to get the data from txt name dot text. Okay, so similarly for this, where we will get the data, likewise we can check. So for qualification, this is for qualification, so you can make use of txt qualification dot text, and what is our next parameter? Percentage. So for this, txt percentage dot text, and last is data join. txt dog dot text. Means we are adding parameters with value, so we can make use of this one and we can execute data. So here the difference is, instead of your inline query we are using stored procedure name, and instead of command type dot text we are using stored procedure. And what are the parameters? Here we have to pass values, right? Those values will be passed in this manner. Okay, now let us execute. Okay, so what does it means, so here we have a clear button, right? So we are not passing anything to the clear button, that is error. So here I'm using parameter. I'm passing parameters like Anamika, qualification, suppose BSc, percentage 90, DOG 1406 2017. I click on submit button. Here are converting data type and where get. You can use convert dot to data. Okay. Qualification. Click on submit. Data not inserted. Please check. There is some problem with this. Let us put a breakpoint and we'll check why it is not inserted. So I put a breakpoint here. I click on submit. Okay. CMD parameters. So this is a stored procedure and this is a parameter count. So one parameter being added here and this is the result of the parameters. So that name parameter. So at the rate name, this is at the rate name and we are passing Anamika as a name. So value is Anamika. Okay, now okay. Now use this. So execute non-query. So let us check USP. So one more problem here is what I identified is, so this is an integer, right? Percentage is an integer, but here we are passing as a string data because if text means nothing but a string data. Just you can convert dot to int 32. So you can pass convert dot to int 32. So that's okay. So next cmd execute. Okay. So cmd execute non-query, that is okay. So I want to execute this one again. So let us check what is the data executing. What is the problem? There is no problem here. So but the thing is we have to change a small thing. I already told you, no, if it is a action query, insert query, something, execute non-query gives how many rows affected with that query, right? So if it is stored procedure, it gives a value less than that value is if some rows are affected for this. So generally what I'm using here is, say for example, if I use set no count of, okay, just I'm executing this one. So now we can check how our output will be looks like. Okay, I'm inserting a new data to your test qualification. test percentage 90 DOG 0507 2017. Click on submit. Data inserted successfully. Why? Because we are not using set no count on. Means no count on is off, means we are getting how many rows affected that query, right? So that is the reason. Means if you are inserting, means here one row affected, two rows affected, like that information will be displayed. So if you make this set no count on, means that information is not readed for us. So that's the reason where we can make use of this. We can change to less than or equal to 0. So by defaultly that value is -1, even though if you have a -1, which indicates that your value will be inserted. So I'll show you how it will be. Less than or equal to 0. Just I'm using this, or you can make equal to -1. So now what I'm going to do is I can enable this statement and I can execute the stored procedure. Now let us check. So your PR test will be saved. So now I want to execute next. Navin qualification BAC, for example, percentage 95, okay, 14/07 2017. Can submit. Now also you are getting data inserted. Why? Because even though you set it on, so that value by default execute non-query value is -1, means which is less than or equal to 10. So that's the reason this statement will be executed, and even our data will be saved here itself. So in this way we can make use of stored procedures in our examples. Okay, so what you have to do is similarly you can write for delete and you can write for update also. Any doubts so far? Hello.
Is there any way in database to search for any particular value?
Search for particular value in
Like if I
particular
want to
table.
see, suppose the name Sudhir, I want to see in which table it is. There's no way to search for it, right?
Okay. You want some value which is available in multiple number of tables, right?
No, like I want to, like suppose I want to know Sudhir, where it's getting saved. Is
Okay.
there any way to know?
No, that we can't do. Where is getting saved is, so you can go to the store procedure, just open the store
I know,
procedure.
but at my work it's very complicated and sometimes I cannot find, it takes me a long time to find where it's going.
Okay, through breakpoints only we can get to check. Or else, I don't think so you haven't permissions for SQL profiler. So here we have an option, tools SQL server profiler. Click on it so that what is the query that is executed and that information will be, you can get to know.
Okay.
See, this is all the information which we have. So say for example I want to execute this one. Okay, so I want to execute Sudhir one. So click on insertion, like execution. So now you can check, query will be this one. Okay, so you are executing this statement Sudhir one, that will be logged here itself. You can get it and you can get the information of this stored procedure, and you can check, okay, what are the tables that they are using. All these things you can get to know.
Okay.
First,
But
in
I
order
may not
to
have permission for it.
execute this SQL profiler, so you should have permissions from your DBA team, database administration team.
This is under tools.
Yes, under tools. So this
Okay.
is our normal window, right? Under tools, SQL profiler. Click on it. so that kind of
Okay, the
window
first
logic
one.
will be
Okay.
opened. So in which
Okay.
suppose if you are connected with LAN, so multiple users are connecting to the database, right? All the database
Right.
operations are coming here. But before going to that, you can check only your database name. Suppose I will show you. This is tool. So for this database, you have database, multiple people are connecting to your database, right? So you don't want all the queries. You want the queries which are being run by you only, right? So for this, you can go to the event selection. So for this event selection, you can check organize columns, and you can check your login name. You have the login name, and you have some CPU information. So CPU information means your computer name. That whenever you pass those things, so then automatically that will be, so CPU name. CPU name, you can give your CPU name. Then automatically it displays what are the queries or what are the procedures are executed by particular CPU only displayed in that list itself. Otherwise, you will
Okay.
get all the lists which are running from the different users also. Maybe 100% are working on the same database. All the queries will be listed. At that point of time, you will get confused. And one more thing to identify this is just you can click on run. So suppose if I execute, so there one to so for example, I executed, this will be traced, right? So here in NT username, you can check. NT username means your login information, means your system name and your SQL Server login information. This is your login name. So you can
Mm-hmm.
identify which are running from your machine by using these two columns.
Okay.
Okay, so in real-time systems we will get all the multiple usernames are getting populated, because in a minute you will get multiple number of lists. So what is the query that they are using, everything will be displayed here itself. If you are writing a query, query will be displayed.
Like
Suppose
the way you show is straightforward. No, it's over there. It's very complicated. Like for example, this the screen. To save the screen, there's an object that's created, user data,
mm,
and then everything goes inside that user data object.
okay.
Uh, I don't know. It's going to take some time for me to understand.
Yes, yes, it takes some time. See, in real time, and so just you are passing a parameters now, but in real time scenarios, we
Right.
can pass class objects as a parameters. This is the typical flow for our enterprise applications. Class object.
Yeah, I think it's something like that. It's
Uh,
some object is created and
yes,
then
for that object, for that by using that object, you are going to pass some values to the,
but that
like,
class is somewhere else,
yes,
so
yes, it is
everything is in
somewhere.
different places.
Hmm. So that through debugging we will get to know. So because you are in an initial stage, no, it may take some time for you.
Yeah,
Okay, if you
right,
need
right.
anything in a stage, then let me know. But actually, this is the process, like how you get to know what is executing.
Okay,
So
but deep.
even you can check with what others are executing. Also, you can check. Okay, if you are
Okay,
not using that CPU filters, means automatically all others information will be also displayed here itself. Suppose I'm executing, say for example, I'm executing, okay, suppose 7. So this one. So through application I'm executing this one, right? So that will also be tracked here itself through application or through database also.
okay,
See, 7. Right? So anyways, whatever it is coming to the database, that will be tracked here itself.
mm-hmm.
Okay. This is about stored procedures, like how to use stored procedures in our applications. Similarly, you can apply for delete procedures or delete information table, and you can apply for update information table. So all these things you can create stored procedures and you can keep practice on it.
Yeah.
So now I want to show you like how to make use of output parameters in a stored procedures, and this is very important. Okay, so for this I want to take a table, create create table table name tbl employee emp id int identity employee name and varchar of 100. Give the minimum sizes, don't give max or something. If it is a means if you want to store a bunch of data, then only you can give and varchar of max. Otherwise you are end up with the performance issues in future. Name and department and varchar of 100. Suppose is active, default 1. So this is a bit data type, right? So must include the data type. We have forgot to include data type. That's the reason where we'll get an error. So now select star from TBL employee. Okay. So now what my requirement is, once after insert my table information, employee information, I want to know what was the ID of particular employee. So that once after the insertion, we'll display that your ID is so and so. Like that I want to display. For this kind of you know implementation, for this kind of scenarios, we have to make use of output parameters that are available with your SQL server. Okay, so first I want to create a stored procedure for this. So create procedure. So before going to procedure, just we want to insert some data for this. So insert into TBL employee. You can pass column names, name dept dot values. Suppose was I. So next engineering. Okay. So just I want to execute this one. So one row is affected. So data is there. So insert into procedure name USP. Okay. ADO underscore insert employee data. So just here we want how many parameters we want. Name, department, right? Name and varchar of 100 at the rate DEPT and varchar of 100. And one more thing is I want to know what was the employee ID of a particular person. Once after the session we need this employee ID. For this I want to consider EMP ID. So for this I want to consider int. This is an output parameter. You can use out or you can use output also, no problem. As begin end. Insert into table. So name. So here you can use name and other is department. Okay, so here select @empid equal to, we have a scope identity as a function. What this function performs means whatever the value that is taken for this row for empid column, that will be identity column. Whatever the information which is available with identity column, that value will be displayed and that will be stored in empid. Just we can select so that we can display that value. Set no count on. I executed this procedure and I changed this to alter. For next time onwards I can click on alter. Now what I'm going to do is I would like to execute this one. Exe procedure name. These two are input parameters, name and department, and this is our output parameter. Okay, suppose for this name, okay, so I'm using Suresh. So here department analytics. So you have empid, right? Even though that is an output parameter, you can pass some dummy value. Any value you can pass, depends upon the type. If it is an integer, you can pass any integer values. If it is a envarchar, you can pass just empty or anything you can pass. So now I want to execute this one. Once after this execution, I got a 2 as an output, which means that 2 is meaning nothing but my ID is 2. If I'm going to add, suppose Sunita, human resources. So just if I execute means you will get here when I executed you will get a 3 as an output. So likewise we can get to know the we can make to use output parameter and we'll get to know the what was the employee ID for that particular person. Okay, so far any doubts?
No.
No. Okay, so now so we can make use how this will be utilized in our backend. Okay, just give me 5 to 10 minutes. I'll get back to you. Meanwhile you can go through this one. Okay. Okay. Any doubts so far? Hello?
No.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see how to work with an output parameter.
Mm.
Hello, Rekha? Or param ex. I want to take a table. So actually how many things that I want to take here? So two values I need to take from the user, right? So I can take 3 rows and 2 columns. And first is name of the employee. Next is department of the employee. So next is, hello Rekha. So submit, BT and submit. And we can take this and copy here. We can change this to BTN clear, clear. Just want to take a text box. So txt name, txt quali, sorry, department, right? DEPT. So call it test department. Okay. Now see here, I want to introduce few tips in this application. Okay, that you have to follow in your real-time systems. Using system dot data, okay, and other is using system dot data dot SQL client, and you can declare SQL connection con and as well as SQL command CMD, and as well as now you can try catch blocks and write your code in try catch blocks only. Okay, so now what I'm going to do here is con equal to new SQL connection. So you can pass that connection string, right? So anyway, my connection string is available here. Just about to copy and paste here. So now con dot open. Similarly, I want to take cmd equal to new SQL command, comma con. So here in this place you have to pass your stored procedure name, right? This is the stored procedure name. Now you can take cmd dot parameters dot add with value, right? So what are the values that we have? Just you can take, so at the rate name, comma txt name dot, tell me, text. So similarly I can pass the value for department, DEPT, txt DEPT dot text. Okay, see likewise we will pass these two parameters. And I already told you, no, suppose if you're not passing your third parameter, just I'm executing here this one, you will get an error, empid which was not supplied. Means even though that is an output parameter, you have to pass some value for this. For this, what you have to do is take one SQL parameter. So empid param empid equal to new SQL parameter. So here param empid dot SQL db type equal to SQL db type dot. So what is that? Integer, right? So and param empid dot value equal to, you can give any value like dummy value 0 or something, and param empid dot direction. So here you can give parameter direction dot output. Means by this it can get understand that you are passing a output parameter to this procedure, and you can add your parameters dot add parameters to this, right? So that param empid. Now you can use int I equal to cmd dot execute non-query. Before going to that, once after your command declaration, you can pass cmd dot command type. Command type equal to command type dot stored procedure, right? So command type dot stored procedure. So if I less than or equal to 0, which means that data inserted successfully. Else means suppose that not inserted. If it is if it comes to the catch block, means it means that there may be some exception. So you can handle this type of exceptions also. Ex dot message. Whatever the exception message that we have, we can pass that exception message. And we have finally block. We can make use of finally. In real time, generally we'll use finally block for closing of a connection. Okay, likewise you can use try catch blocks, so that if you have anything, so it will be tracked by your catch block. So here I'm trying to execute this one. Sorry, here I want to extend something here itself. Okay, param direction I have, it was executed. Once after the execution, I want to know the employee ID. Okay, so once after the data execution, so just I want to your employee ID is, means your employee ID is, I want to display that employee ID, because that employee ID will be comes to my command itself, right? So here I would like to take some int my empid. I would like to take one variable here equal to cmd dot parameters of what is the count of this parameter. So count means 0 1 2, right? So means parameter count is 2 dot value. Okay, so here I'll get 2 dot value. So just you can convert this to integer, convert dot 2 int 32 of, okay, plus my your employee ID is plus my EMP ID. Here you can take your employee ID is. See, whatever the employee ID that we have, that employee ID will be saved in your second parameter, right? So how you can say this is your second parameter. So zero parameter, first parameter and second parameter. That will be stored here, and from that we are getting, and we are going to display that to the user. Just I'm passing this one. Suppose I'm passing like Bharat, okay, department of the employee. So department is DBA. Click on submit. Let us put some breakpoint. Whether it executed or not, we'll check here. Nothing will be displayed. Let us check what is the problem with this. I'll put a breakpoint here. Click on submit. So it is coming. Dot add. Okay, some catch is there. What is that? Expects a parameter at the rate EMP ID. Okay. Here we missed one thing. That is, we are not passing name. EMP ID dot name, parameter name, that we have to pass, no? So just you can give that name here itself, at the rate EMP ID. That is the problem. So click on that one. So Bharat something DBA, and I click on this submit. Data inserted. See, data inserted successfully. Just you can check here. Data is inserted by the DBA, right? So after the data inserted, we want to display some kind of message here itself, right? So that message is not yet displayed. So let us check what might be the reason for this. Your employee ID is, like, you can check, you can write here, plus my EMP ID. Okay, dot toString, like that we can check. You can put it in bold. Just I want to execute this one more time. Suppose I am taking as RAM and UI designer. Click submit. So click on this, data inserted successfully. So your employee ID is 5. You will get a notice here, right? So 5. Likewise, whatever the data that you are inserted, DB development. So click on submit. Data inserted successfully and the count will becomes like 6. Likewise, with the help of our out parameter, we can get to, make use of out parameter and know what was the value employee ID which is saved at that point of time, that we can get to know. In this way, we can use our stored procedures in our programming implementations. This ends your stored procedures concept. Any doubts so far?
No.
Okay. Rekha, you're following?
I'll need to practice. It's a lot of stuff.
Okay.
I understand when you say, but
Okay. Yeah,
practice.
spend more time because by this week you have some free time, right? So that
Yeah.
once we complete it, we can have more practice on
Yeah.
it. Okay. Now I want to introduce one more mechanism, similar kind of mechanism. So best optimization technique that you can use for SQL Server. Okay. For insertion of data only. I want to take a new item. I can take, or else in this I would like to show for deleting of data. Okay, delete SPEX. So here I want to take a table which consists of 2 rows. So enter EMP ID that what we want to delete. So here we can pass text box, and here we can make use of button, and this is also button. Okay, so here we
I
can make,
have a question before you proceed.
yes you can.
Suppose like there is like an application like with 10 different screens, and in between the screens when you save data, like a draft or something, that's also in database, or it's done like temporary between sessions or something?
It's
It's captured in the database, like the draft.
yeah, if that will be of different pages, if all the each and every pages belongs to a single table, then they will be saved in the database, and so that once one page completed, and that will be saved in one table. Another page is completed means a respective table will be saved. In such a manner we can manage. If you don't want to manage all the things in a single, like for every individual time, then we can transport the data with the help of a sessions, and finally we can segregate the data and we'll save at one end.
And like in between the like five after 5 screens, the customer clicks cancel.
Okay.
So then it's all the
Yeah, we
draft
will
is
dispose.
deleted.
Yeah, we will dispose that one. Means we can kill that session so that our data won't available. In such a way we can do.
Okay.
Means it all depends upon the requirement. So say for example, if they want individual, even suppose some users ask that, okay, even though 3 pages we filled, means you have to save, so you don't want to ask me to repeat the same kind of thing. At that point of time we will save 3, so from next time onwards he will continue from 4th page.
But all that is stored in database,
Yes,
right?
all that is stored in database. How we can make it a structure means, for single, like for first page, we'll save in one table or respective table. We will maintain some foreign key relations from this table to that table. Likewise, a 10 number of tables if we want, we have to maintain the foreign key relation for all these things. So which
Okay.
indicates that if there is a relation in between the table and this table at the time of fetching the data or pulling the data, then we can make sure that these relations are in proper.
Okay.
Okay. So this is the thing. Just I want to write a procedure for deleting of a data. Create procedure. Procedure name USP DVADO underscore delete EMP data. Here emp id integer, just I want to pass integer as a parameter, and delete, what is the table name? This is table name, right? Where emp id equal to @emp id, and okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm deleting a data, right? So I just executed this procedure. My procedure name is csp delete emp data. So I would like to write, so common things I will place Sql connection, using, Rekha, you might have awareness on this type of syntaxes. Using.
Using, yeah.
In real-time systems, we can make use of this kind of implementations. So what does it means in using you can declare your connection, and what does it means once we're done with our operation, automatically using, we'll open our connection, right? Automatically once our operations will be done, then automatically using will closes your connection. No need to use explicit close, conduct close, like that you no need to use. Sometimes if we are writing lots of code, right? Sometimes we may forget to write conduct close. At that time we will end up with an errors. So that we can't identify frequently, but at some point of time in productions we'll get to end with an error. That is because of that, whenever we are using normal coding, so connection dot close we have to write externally. But when you place your code in using and you will pass your connection string here, your connection will be automatically disposed once you're done with your work. So no need to write an explicit type of coding. That is the advantages with using. So I'm also suggesting please do go with using, so that no need to write end up with an con.close close errors. Okay, here I want to pass delete. So for this delete we have one emp id. So this is our emp id. So for this txt emp id, right? Text box we have txt. Okay, we want to give id as txt emp id. txt emp id dot text. Okay. This is not required, sorry. The second parameter is not required because we have only one parameter. So, and this is also not required. Data deleted successfully, you can write, and data not deleted, likewise you can. So no need to write a finally block. Set no count on. So if you want to re-execute, you can use alter statement instead of create. So data deleted successfully. Just I want to execute this one. So we'll check how many rows we have totally. Totally we have 6 rows, I want to pass 5 as an input. When I click on this, data deleted successfully. Check whether that fifth record is deleted or not. So my fifth record is deleted. So likewise, we can make use a best practices in our real-time implementation with the help of using. This is also covers how to delete how to write a stored procedure for delete. Am I clear so far? Hello.
Yes, it's clear.
Yeah.
Okay. So last topic for today is SQL data reader. Okay, this is a small thing and we can finish this.
Virendra, like